Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. Just a quick video. Oh no, it's getting a bit tired now, isn't it? Anyway, just a video to explain to you, to help you understand. It's a bit about tyres, okay? Which tyres are good on-road, off-road, and in between. Look, like always, I don't care what tyres you get. I don't make tyres, sell tyres, whatever. It just doesn't matter. I can tell you what I use, why I use them, and I suppose because not only working on vehicles and looking at them, all the different types of tyres, also all the trips we've done, all the use over the years, all the trips and the same cars on the same hills with different tyres. There's a lot of variables, but I reckon I've got enough, I suppose, R&D or information there to make a relatively accurate prognosis on which tyres are working and why. Now, what we've got here in front of us is a set of Dunlop grandtrek, whether they're A2 20s, 22s, doesn't matter. The rubber probably changed a bit and it's probably a little bit better, but that doesn't matter. So basically this is your road orientated tyre. This is what the Prados come with, and you know the Hiluxes come with a similar tyre, you know, different but similar. It's a highway tyre. Okay, you can see there's plenty of rubber there, right? So there's not that much cut out. So that's the deal, it's about rubber. The surface of the road is flat. So the more bits you've got missing, the less rubber you've got contacting the road to make that grip for you. So that's the first part. That's why a slick is best for on road, right? Slicks are best, maximum rubber. But of course, when you've got water, you need these lines, right? You need these lines cut in to throw the water out, right? And some tyre designs, I don't quite get it, some of the lines, the way they put it, but hey, they're the experts, they know what they're doing, right? Especially those ones where the lines come out and there's one of these, so we'll find it, see this wear indicator block here? Some of them, they put them like in between here, and I'll tell you why they do it. They do it to stop these tread blocks moving back and forward, because that creates noise as well. So they put a block in between, but it stops the water getting out, right? But the block only comes up halfway, so once your tyre gets half warm, guess what? The water can't get out, and they're useless, so you aquaplane your head off. Anyway, so nice and grippy, right? Now, when you take these off-road, if the conditions are dry, they work fairly well. If the conditions, it all varies a lot in the conditions. There's so many different track surfaces, okay? And for example, sand you don't want to dig in, so these are going to be okay on the sand because, you know, the idea is to let them down so they sit up on top of the sand and not dig, right? But when you come to stuff that's steeper, now if it's steep and it's dry and powdery, these might spin on the powder. There's nothing to bite in. Look at the, there's nothing. You know, you rub your hand up, there's nothing there to bite in and get any grip. So you're relying on a surface that's pretty flat, that's packed down. It's either been rained on recently and driven over by a few cars in front of you, that's packed it down nice and slick, and the two surfaces just grip like that, right? Now, if it's really dry and powdery, again, it's just going to sort of spin, right? If it's wet and slippery, again, it's just going to spin. It's got, you know, there's nothing there. When it's spinning, that's where you need that aggressive tread pattern to get you the grip. Now, let's go and have a look at another tyre. This is the next step up, all right? So sorry if it's a bit windy. It's a bit of a breezy day today. So sorry, you know, you get that? This is a real world environment. We haven't got time to muck around and wait till the wind changes. So same sort of tyre. I've used these for quite a while now, about 2 years, and I can tell you they're still really good on the road. They've got that nice flat sort of thing, you know, it's going to get that grip, but it's got some nice cutouts in it. So they're really good in the wet, you know, the deeper water on the road. You can really cut through it, and you can see these lines that push the water out, right? And they're nice and open. So they're actually really good on-road tyre. Now, I could say, oh, they're great off-road, and they are great off-road. I've never had a problem. They're just great. I've never had a puncture, everything like that. But I can tell you, they're nowhere near as good as the KO2s when push comes to shove. We'll get to that. But what I want to point out is, see, there's some, these are like a, well, they're called grandtrek AT3G, so they're an all-terrain, but you can see they've got some quite big blocks there. So they're still simple as far as road surface goes, but if it was muddy, these blocks can sort of sink into that mud a little bit and get a little bit of bite. There's more open groove sort of thing, but it's not really an aggressive tread pattern. There's nothing really here. It's not a really grippy tread pattern, if you know what I mean. So they're an all-terrain, they're 3-ply sidewall and all that, so they're a little bit stronger. They're still not that exciting, I can tell you. But they're stronger in the sidewall. They've got more rubber here, so they're going to be more punch resistant. If you've got more tread depth here, the rocks that pushing in here, sometimes they're going to miss and go there, so that's thicker. but if it hits there, you've got more depth, so if something pushes into it and you air down, it's hopefully not going to push through and puncture it. And so far so good. There is a bit of a cut in the side of one of them, but no big deal. Once again, sorry about the wind. Hope you see what I mean. So very not grippy tread pattern, but we've done some really steep hills out in the high country. We've been out in some wet weather. We've been out and we've been a number of places with these tyres. They haven't let us down. We've been on sand. To be honest, I think as weird as it is, less aggressive than the KO2s. I think they're not as good in the sand as the KO2s. I reckon they definitely bag out more. They bag out easier. You think that'd be better, but in my limited experience, I think that these are not as good in the sand as the KO2s. Crazy, I know, isn't it? Let's go and have a look at another set of tyres. Alright, so we're looking at a set of KO2. We're not looking at a set, we're looking at one. And it's on the back of the vehicle, the spare. What better opportunity? It's probably the cleanest tyre and the easiest one to play with. So, basically, what you can see is a totally different tyre. And why would that be? Why do you think they do this sort of pattern, okay? Now, the KO was around, I don't know, for about 50 years. I've said this before. Remember the movie Jaws? How old's that? 1970 something or other, maybe. You know, what's his name? The F100 truck, the F truck, whatever it was. Anyway, it had KOs on it. Go and watch the movie. Check it out. Anyway, they've been around for that long. And I'm not saying they're the best tyre all round. I'm saying I believe they are the best tyre off-road. Okay, now. These changed a few years ago, KO2s. They changed the compound a little bit. They get better off-road wear, less chipping and all that sort of thing. So they made improvements. And they obviously put a little bit of aggressive stuff on the side here, more grippy stuff like that. So what I want to say about, you know, there's always a lot of talk about which tyres people should buy. And as I said earlier in the video, I don't care what tyres you buy, right? Just trying to give you some advice here. But understand, when people are comparing tyres, they're comparing their experience with how many sets of tyres, or different cars, same car, different car, not many Ks, not that long, whatever, or limited juice. You know, a lot of people just don't get out there that much and hit the tracks and do the big trips. And I suppose the big trips are the small part of it, because any tyre can drive up the highway and a lot of tyres can drive on a dirt road and get away with it. Okay, I know, as I said in another video, I've got a client who he's done 120,000 Ks, I think, on a 2015 Prado on grandtreks, maybe 2 sets or something. I can't remember the full details. But he's been up and down all these dirt roads. No, I don't think he's had a puncher. Did you say no puncher? Or he had one puncher, or I think it was no punches. Or look, nothing notable anyway. He's certainly not changing tyres. Now, from our experience testing out all different tyres, road tyres, you know, KOs, KO2. This is probably, I don't know, my 4th set of KO2s. Yeah, they haven't been out that long, exactly. And the KOs before that, a few sets. And as I said, every second car that comes in has got KO2s now. But look, they're a popular tyre, okay? They're popular for off-road. This is a 4-wheel drive. This isn't a good tyre for a car that goes on the blacktop to school and back, and to go and see the family and the friends and all that. No, this isn't a good tyre for that. This is a good tyre for off-road. See the aggressive tread pattern? It just wraps around the rocks, right? So when you're on the rough stuff, the tread depth, the openness, and the shape, I don't know what it is. All I can put it down to is it must be the design of this weird shape that's not that different to the KO. But I noticed on the tracks, we'd have 10 cars, you know, there'd be mainly these sorts of tyres, 6, 7 out of 10. And every time, it doesn't matter if it was a 90 series Prado or a Patrol or what, the cars with these tyres, they weren't just always the best drivers. It was happening way too often that the cars that got up the hills the easiest were on these tyres, okay? And I've experienced the same myself. When I've got these on, you do everything so much easier. It's almost like having a locker, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not that, it's totally different, but I'm just trying to say, it transforms the vehicle. Now, it also transforms it on the road. It doesn't steer the same, it doesn't drive the same. This is not going to have, it's not going to be, these are not noisy tyres. These are really quiet, actually. These are one of the best, quietest all-terrain tyres. They're quieter than those AT3Gs. These are quieter. I'll say it again just to be clear. The KO2s are heaps quieter. I can't even hear them. The AT3Gs, you can hear them. There's a bit of a, you know, it's almost like a mud tyre after 10,000 K. It's not as bad as a mud tyre, but it's on the way to that, if you know what I mean. They're a bit noisy. They're not bad though, okay? They were better when they were new. I didn't notice it. 10,000 Ks or so, you start to notice a little bit of noise there. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is look at the grip, notice how the tread pattern just wraps, and when you're on those rough hills, so if it's rough, sort of shaly, kind of a few rocks in the track, this kind of just the tread pattern as it goes around, it bites in, it grips. I've seen it working. I've driven the vehicles with these tyres on there, okay? I do really kind of love these tyres. They are really good for off-road, okay? So when you're going, oh, should I get these or should I get those? When you see a tyre that's got the normal more, this is not a road-orientated tyre. It does the job on road. It's very good on road. It does very well considering how good it is off-road. It's a compromise. It's awesome on road, really. It's better than, on-road tyres from 20 years ago. So it's certainly good enough. Nothing wrong with them on road, in my opinion. However, the more road-orientated you get, so if you find another design like a Yokohama or a Falcon or a Bridgestone or a Dunlop, whatever, right, that are like those other sorts of designs we've looked at previously, similar to that, understand that's a road tread pattern, those blocks and those lines. What do you see? You see the lines going this way, up and down here? Any lines? No, zero, because we want the off-road grip. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what these are for. They're a tough off-road tyre, okay? So, if you're going off-road every weekend, hitting the tracks, if you're doing those out, and the other reason is reliability, okay? Same thing, the 8 out of 10 vehicles thing, never have a problem with them, 9 out of 10 probably, never have a problem off-road, never hear of punches. They're the majority that don't have problems. They're like Toyotas, okay? These other tyres, they're the minority, and they're the ones, like, I'm not going to say Cooper are the ones that have the punches all the time, because I've said it before. Anyway, small percentage, you look at the cars, you go, oh yeah, no, not many, but they seem to be the ones getting the left-hand rear tyre change, I'm not just picking on Coopers, but, like those Bridgestone, or Dunlop, what are they? Bridgestone, the D697s, okay? Oh yeah, I've had them, they're great. Yeah, they're a great tyre. Again, road orientated. You'll see those blocks, you'll see those lines. They're pretty damn good on road. They're a light truck design. They're, got a bit of reinforcement or whatever, so they're reasonably strong off-road, but they're nowhere near as good as these. I'll give you an example. In 2014, we took approximately 30 cars up some hills in the high country. 80% of the vehicles had these tyres. There was no punches for the whole trip. And out of the 4 vehicles I can think of that had the D697s, at least 3 had a puncher. I think on the same track. And if those people ever watch this video as part of the evidence, you can put your hand up in the comments and say that was me. One was, I think Corinne had one, I think Vaughan had one, and I think Chris had one. 3 people had a puncher on 697s. Go on, test my memory from 6 years ago. Tell me I was wrong. Tell me 25 out of those 30 cars didn't have KOs or KO2s. If they didn't, they had KM2s, or a couple of people had Coopers, whatever. They were okay. They were lucky this time, Do you get what I mean? The percentages is high percentages of these tyres with no problem, small percentage of the other tyres, just about all of them had a problem. Now, I'm not picking on 697s. Again, they're cheap, mate. People get deals on tyres, buy 3, get 1 free, whatever. Good luck to you. Good on road, grippy in the wet, beautiful, and they will do off-road. You'll take them off on the tracks and go, I was happy with them. Perfect example is that video on our other YouTube channel that I put up. If you haven't seen that, you're missing out, right? I put up, and one weekend, a couple of weeks ago, one guy is spinning them. That was a slippery, this is what I'm talking about. Where it was slippery, these walked up, they did it easy, right? And then a set of grandtreks went up, and he did it hard. But then the last video I put up, and depends when I put this video as to when it was, but look, the video I put up on, I'll give you the date, right? On the last day of May in Australia, right, 2020. If you check that one out, I think it's called Prado Fun Day. Check that out. Prado Fun Day. It might say Anglesea or something like that. ANGLSEA. Search it that way, right? You want to subscribe to that one as well, or you're missing out. This is the mechanical side of it. If you want to see what happens off-road, how to use your car, learn how to drive, see some scenery, some places, all the exciting fun stuff, that's where it's going to be at, okay? That's the deal, guys. He was out on the Grand Treks, the stock standard road, the first ones we looked at in this video. Mate, you go and have a look at the terrain that it went over and the hills it went up, and it didn't spin a wheel with, in his words, the mighty V6, unquote, right? the mighty V6, right? So it's got all that power and grunt and couldn't spin a wheel with grandtreks. So if you're that guy that's got these other tyres, that's been out and had a lucky once, twice, three, you can go out 10 times and be lucky and go, oh, of course you have. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your tyres, but understand you're comparing chalk and cheese. These are the grippy off-road tyres. These are the stuff for the rough stuff when you want reliability for big outback trips and you want the ultimate traction, okay? But you've got to be prepared to compromise, what, 10%? Not as good in the wet, not as good fuel economy maybe, things like that. Not as good in the dry for that matter. See, not as much rubber left there. Look, see, look at all these gaps that are there for rocks and dirt and things to get in between to grip. So this bit of rubber here can actually get a grip on things, all right? Get a grip, people, get a grip. Anyway, I hope you understand. That's my tyre talk. I might call this video tyre talk, we'll see. Anyway, guys, you know the deal. If you haven't already, subscribe, turn the bell on. We've got more proper information coming to you. If you got something out of that, give us a thumbs up. And don't forget, in the comments, give us some ideas on what you want to see in more videos. Can't guarantee we can answer every question or do every video, but we take it all into account. Your feedback matters to us. Thanks for your support. Catch you soon. See ya.